Good morning, it's Friday the 8th of January and this is my daily thought for today. So we are still in Acts and we are on Acts 19 and we're reading a lot of verses today. We're reading verses 23 to 41 and this is about the riot in Ephesus. So about that time there arose a great disturbance about the way. A silversmith named Demetrius, who made silver shrines of Artemis, brought in a lot of business for the craftsmen there. He called them together along with the workers in related trades and said, "You know, my friends, that we receive a good income from this business, and you see and hear how this fellow Paul has convinced and led astray large numbers of people here in Ephesus and in practically the whole province of Asia. He says that gods made by human hands are no gods at all. There is danger not only that our trade will lose its good name, but also that the temple of the great goddess Artemis will be discredited, and the goddess herself, who is worshipped throughout the province of Asia and the world, will be robbed of her divine majesty." When they heard this, they were furious and began shouting, "Great is Artemis of the Ephesians." Soon the whole city was in uproar. The people seized Gaius and Aristarchus, Paul's travelling companions from Macedonia, and all of them rushed into the theatre together. Paul wanted to appear before the crowd, but the disciples would not let him. Even some of the officials of the province, friends of Paul, sent him a message begging him not to venture into the theatre. The assembly was in confusion. Some were shouting one thing, some another. Most of the people did not even know why they were there. The Jews in the crowd pushed Alexander to the front and they shouted instructions to him. He motioned for silence in order to make a defense for the people, but when they realized he was a Jew, they all shouted in unison for about 2 hours, "Great is Artemis of the Ephesians." The city clerk quietened the crowd and said, "Fellow Ephesians, doesn't all the world know that the city of Ephesus is the guardian of the temple of the great Artemis and of her image which fell from heaven? Therefore, since these facts are undeniable, you ought to calm down and not do anything rash. You have brought these men here, though they have neither robbed temples nor blasphemed our goddess. If then Demetrius and his fellow craftsmen have a grievance against anybody, the courts are open and there are proconsuls. They can press charges. If there is anything further you want to bring up, it must be settled in a legal assembly. As it is, we are in danger of being charged with rioting because of what happened today. In that case, we would not be able to account for this commotion, since there is no reason for it." After he had said this, he dismissed the assembly. So it's quite a busy passage, this. It's quite a frantic. All of a sudden, there's chaos. There's Demetrius, who's concerned for his trade, who's started this panic that spread amongst the people. Of course, they're concerned about their livelihoods, but the panic just spreads like wildfire. And as we saw, all of a sudden, they're all caught up in it, Paul and his companions, and they're all herded towards the theatre. Now, this isn't like a theatre where you're going to see Phantom of the Opera. It's not that kind of theatre. This is a theatre in Ephesus where there would have been animal fights, gladiator fights, like the Russell Crowe type thing, and also where they would settle political disputes, where they would all gather to make important decisions. So this is one massive open amphitheatre type thing where lots of things would happen. But I guess being pulled into a theatre like that, who knows what could happen to you. So it must have been an absolutely terrifying experience for Paul and his fellow companions. But Paul apparently didn't get as far into the theatre as he possibly would have hoped, to try and diffuse the situation and explain, defend the way that he was preaching about. Because it said, friends of Paul sent a message begging him not to go in there. Why, we don't know. Because certainly I'm sure Paul could have defended the way in a really good manner, as he's done before. But yeah, it talks about confusion and rioting and all these different things. But there was a verse in particular that stood out to me, and it's when Demetrius is talking to his fellow craftsmen and he's trying to convince them that we've got to stop this man who's it was funny reading it from a different perspective, because he was saying that Paul was leading people astray, and we don't think of Paul leading people astray because he's leading them to Jesus. So it was interesting hearing it from that perspective. But Demetrius says about the danger, not only the trade will lose its good name, but he was worried about their goddess actually being robbed of her divine majesty. And that to me was really interesting, that this person that they put all their faith in, that they make all these shrines for, that they worship these things that they make with human hands, that's it. As he said, you know, he said that Paul was saying you can't, you know, worship gods. The gods aren't real, that are made with human hands. Of course they're not. But they were concerned because all of a sudden, because people could get turned away, that in time would rob her of her divine majesty. Now that, to think that us humans can have that much power to create our own God, wow, that is a big thought. But I suppose in this day and age, it's not that a surprising thought. We put so much power into man-made things, and we make little g gods out of so many things, and we worship it, for want of a better word, by giving all our time to it and our effort to it and our focus to it. And yet we have the one true God, who is these things that they make with human hands, that's it. As he said, you know, he said that Paul was saying you can't, you know, worship gods. The gods aren't real, that are made with human hands. Of course they're not. But they were concerned because all of a sudden, because people could get turned away, that in time would rob her of her divine majesty. Now that, to think that us humans can have that much power to create our own God, wow, that is a big thought. But I suppose in this day and age, it's not that a surprising thought. We put so much power into man-made things, and we make little g gods out of so many things, and we worship it, for want of a better word, by giving all our time to it and our effort to it and our focus to it. And yet we have the one true God, who is divine, and his divinity can never be robbed away because he is divine. He's not given divinity, he is divine. And that's a massive difference between all these gods that they've got, all the Greek mythology gods. And yeah, our God is divine. He's not created by human hands. He's not made by human hands. He is divine. And that's why we can put so much faith in him. Compared to these people who were absolutely panicking because all of a sudden their faith they thought was going to get taken away from them. But the hope that we have in our God is that our faith can never be taken away. And it says in the Bible that nothing can separate us from the love of God. And that's the hope that we have. And it's just a challenge to make sure that we are putting all our efforts and all our focus on worshipping the divine God, rather than perhaps getting distracted by little g gods that can take up so much of our time and our attention. So that's a big challenge for me today. Ciao, bye.